How are you guys doing? Today is Sunday, March 21st, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to do an individual profile on Antoine Griezmann, the elite starting French forward who now plays for FC Barcelona and, of course, ran the French national team. I think if you're unfamiliar with who he is, I think he's definitely a very interesting player to follow. I think if you follow soccer, many people wouldn't really consider him elite, but I think his numbers and his accomplishments and his accolades, despite the fact that he does get regular playing time for one of the best teams to ever exist, should speak enough. And I think that once he gets it all figured out on this FC Barcelona squad, even if they decide to build this team around him after Messi leaves, I have no idea as to where it's going to go. But I think that once he's comfortable, he's one of the best players in all of soccer. And when he's at his best, he is a player that is up there in that territory. So just to get into a little bit of background, he stands at about 5'9". He's very skinny, very agile, very quick. He, of course, is very strong. He's very, I would say he's very confident about his abilities. He's very flashy. He's incredibly athletic. I don't know. I definitely enjoy watching his playing style. He adds a little bit of flair with what he does. And even when he's called forth in moments like the World Cup, he doesn't miss in moments like that. So to give a bit of background, he's originally from Macon, France. And of course, he's a French national, like I've been saying for the past, minute and a half at this point. So Griezmann would eventually get his start in the youth academies in France, and he would eventually move to Real Sociedad before he would eventually get moved up in 2009 with the team. In 2009, 2010, in his age 18 season with the club, he would actually help Real Sociedad get promoted out of the second division of La Liga, and ever since they have never been in the Segunda division of La Liga. He started 30 of the 39 matches, and in those games, he finished with 6 goals and 5 assists. And this was him as a teenager trying to build Real Sociedad up from a team that really wasn't respected like a lot of these other teams were. And this, of course, would continue on to his 2010-2011 season. This would come after the U19 Euro champion, where, of course, he would win that with France. But, I mean, those are the U19s. We're out here talking about senior accomplishments. So this would transition into Antoine Griezmann's second season with Real Sociedad, his first season in La Liga. He would start 34 of the 37 games, where Real Sociedad would finish with the 15th best record in La Liga. But, of course, he would still finish with 7 goals and 2 assists and find the net in ways that he could as a young player on one of the worst teams in all of Spain. But of course, he was still trying to find his way. He's still trying to get it. But the fact that he was a 19-year-old doing so on this team. But of course, that would I digress. This transitioned into his third year with Real Sociedad. In his second year in La Liga, he would start 28 of the 35 matches he played for Real Sociedad, as they finished with the 12th best record, 3 standings higher than they placed the year before. He had 7 goals and 3 assists in those 35 matches, virtually similar to what he was doing the year before. And like I said, he was continuing to open up his game as he was showing the rest of the world why people should be paying attention to Real Sociedad. The next season, Real Sociedad would actually make the breakthrough, and in 2012-2013, in his age 21 season, he would start 32 of the 34 games in a season where Real Sociedad would finish with the 4th best record in La Liga and qualify for Champions League. He would finish with 10 goals and 3 assists in that season. Not much would go on other than that, but he was still starting to become recognized. He didn't make the France team till 2014, but in 2012, 2013, when Real, that would be his best, that would be his best record at Real Sociedad, and I think that was one of the seasons that really kind of cemented their place as a club. And this would transition into his very last season with Real Sociedad in 2013-14, which would be his fifth season with the club, his fourth season in La Liga. He would start 31 of the 35 games in a season where Sociedad would drop to the seventh best team. But of course, in that season itself, before going to the World Cup, Griezmann would put up 16 goals and 3 assists. Outside of that, he would play in some international matches. He wouldn't put up anything in Champions League. But those 16 goals that he put up in La Liga would give France enough of a look that they need. They actually did bring him up to participate in the World Cup in 2014. Couldn't really get anything going in the World Cup in 2014. But the fact that he was there and he was actually playing some of those games should actually speak enough to his ability and France's trust in him. And this is when he was still trying to establish himself at Sociedad. But by then, going into the next season, he was already going to be the main guy at Atletico in 2014-2015 in his age 23 season. He would start 29 of his 37 games he would play in a season where Atletico Madrid would finish with the third best record in La Liga. In La Liga itself, he would finish with 22 goals and an assist, the first time in his career he'd ever put up more than 20 goals in a La Liga season. The least amount of assists he's ever put up. That's the only time he's ever put up one assist ever in a season, including his Real Sociedad years. And then looking at what he did, he was able to add a goal in the domestic cup for the first time ever in a season when he was with Atletico. And then adding what he was able to do in Champions League. He was able to score a couple of goals to help Atletico there. But he was continuing to help Atletico push to become one of the best teams in La Liga, as he would go on to lead the team in scoring in his very first season with the club as well. They would go on to win the Supercopa, even though they finished third in La Liga that season. This would transition into Antoine Griezmann's into his second season with Atletico Madrid in his age 24 season, which up until then would be his seventh season in La Liga. He would start 36 of the 38 games where Atletico Madrid would finish with the third best record in La Liga again. And this time they would finish as the runners-up in UEFA Champions League. They might have lost to Ronaldo and Real Madrid that year, but this would be the second year in a row where Antoine Griezmann would lead the team in scoring. He would score 32 total goals for the team, which is the most he would ever score for Atletico Madrid. In La Liga itself, he would score 22 goals, just as much as he did the previous year, and that would be the last time he'd ever scored 20 goals, or the most up to date, the last time he'd ever scored 20 goals in La Liga. And also, alongside his 22 goals, he did put up 5 assists. And that's the most combined, I guess up until then, that's the most combined goals and assists he'd ever put up in his career. So he was continuing to climb in that aspect. He was also able to add like 7 goals in Champions League for that season as well, because he went off that year. He also scored 6 goals in Euro Championship. This is when Antoine Griezmann, I believe, officially ascended into that elite status, to which, of course, he hasn't really kind of left. But even though Atletico Madrid would end up empty-handed the next year, of course, that wouldn't mean that his hunger would die out. In his age 25 season with the club in 2016-17, Antoine Griezmann would start all 36 matches that he would play in a season where Atletico Madrid would finish with the third best record in La Liga for the third straight year in a row. They would lose in the semifinals for Copa del Rey, and they also lost in the semifinals for Champions League. Antoine Griezmann, leading scorer for the third year in a row, like I literally just said. He would go on to score 16 goals and finish with 8 assists in La Liga. Up until then, this would be the most amount of assists he'd ever put up in a La Liga season, as Atletico Madrid was starting to put up better seasons, but they were getting closer and closer to the top. But once again, it was no cigar. But he was also able to add, he was also able to add 6 goals in Champions League this season, as he was continuing to show the world why he was one of the best. And at this time, around in 2016, he was up for the Ballon d'Or. He finished third in the Ballon d'Or voting. That's the closest he's ever finished to the top in Ballon d'Or voting, but he was most definitely in that conversation around then. So with the finish of this 2016-2017 campaign, this would transition into his 4th season with Atletico Madrid, his 9th season in La Liga, his age 26 season. He would start 30 of the 32 games he would play in a season where Atletico Madrid this time would finish as the runners-up in La Liga. And this season, they would also go on to win the Europa League, as Antoine Griezmann would lead the team for the 4th year in a row. They lost in group stage of Champions League, which is why they dropped to Europa League in the first place, and they went on to win. But looking out to how Antoine Griezmann performed for this entire season, in the 6 games in starting off in La Liga, he was able to put up 19 goals and 9 assists. The combined 28 scoring plays are the most that he's ever put up in a La Liga season. The second is the season where he put up 22 goals and 5 assists, to give a sense to how productive Antoine Griezmann was this entire season, at least just within the context of La Liga. In the 6 games of Champions League group stage, he added 2 goals and 2 assists. In the 8 games of Europa League he played, where they ended up winning Europa League, they ended up scoring 6 goals and added 2 assists. And then that year, right after Atletico Madrid ended up winning, after they ended up winning Europa League, and I think they ended up winning Europa League over Marseille, to be completely correct. After this, they would go to the World Cup, and Antoine Griezmann I don't know if he was the captain for France, but he was definitely the main PK taker for France. And going through the group stage, in the first group stage, he would score in the first game versus Australia. Once they made it to the round of 16, he scored the first goal against Argentina. Once they made it to the quarterfinal against Uruguay, he scored the second goal against them. And then once they made it against Croatia, he would score the second goal for France that would put them above Croatia and give them the win. So, of course, he was the second highest scorer. He ended up with 4 goals over the entire tournament. One of the best performances you probably ever see in a World Cup. And he also added 2 assists as well. 6 total scoring plays in 7 World Cup games. Add on the World Cup trophy to the Europa League title. That's a very incredible run, considering the fact that he was up for the Ballon d'Or literally just... The only thing that was bridging that gap was just the year of 2017. That's where Antoine Griezmann was just literally not that long ago. And then this would transition into his last season at Atletico Madrid. In his last season at Atletico, in 2018-2019, in his age 27 season, he would start all 37 games in a season where Atletico would finish with the second best record in La Liga for the second year in a row. And at the same time, they would go on this year to win UEFA Super Cup, after winning Europa League and after Griezmann had won the World Cup, just to get a sense of whether, because that's where Atletico Madrid was at this point. In the other matchups in the Champions League, they lost in round of 16. They lost in Copa del Rey, but they still went on to win that. Antoine Griezmann for the fifth and for all five, and I guess to solidify it for all 5 years he was in Atletico, he would go on to lead the team in scoring. Specifically in this year in La Liga, he would finish with 15 goals and 8 assists, which of course would be yet another season. This would end up being the 6th in a row. He scored at least 15 goals in La Liga, dating back to his last season at Real Sociedad. So, of course, he was continuing that trend and then looking into what he did with Champions League. He had 4 goals in his 8 Champions League games. Just to give a sense of what he was doing there. And after 2018-19, he decided it was time to make a move. And after a lot of miscommunication at FC Barcelona, I think it was very clear that Messi wanted Neymar there, but I think it was very unlikely that they were able to move Neymar back to Barcelona. So they were able to grab Griezmann from Atletico Madrid, and they were able to give him the number 7. But I guess the whole thing with that is his adjustment to Atletico Madrid isn't exactly what a lot of people, or is it his adjustment to FC Barcelona isn't what a lot of people expected, especially with a player of Griezmann's caliber. So just for a little bit of context, transitioning into Griezmann's first season at Barcelona, which, by the way, would be his, if I'm not mistaken, his 10th season in La Liga and his 11th season playing professionally. In his 10th season in La Liga, his first season with Barcelona, he would start 31 of 35 games in a season where Barcelona would finish second in La Liga. This is this most recent season. And in this season, he would finish with 9 goals and 4 assists in those 35 games, which, of course, is the first time since his second season in La Liga that he put up a single-digit amount of goals. But, of course, I think it's fair noting the difficulties of adjusting to a completely different team, a completely different set of players, egos, especially when you're no longer the best player, when you're playing with Lionel Messi. I imagine that takes a lot of adjusting as well. And FC Barcelona was going through its own troubles, and I think he's been doing his best job of trying to stay out the way, which has also impacted his play on the field as well. But at the same time, on the field in La Liga, he still was able to produce on that level. He was able to add 2 goals in Champions League, 3 goals in Copa del Rey, and even in Euro qualifiers, he was able to add like 7 assists in 10 games, along with his 3 goals. So I mean, the man is he is contributing. He is participating. I think that he just needs his moments and his opportunities. He just needs his time to get fully situated within this organization. And I think that you can kind of see the transition. You can kind of see him get better as we transition into where we are this season. Right now, we are in Antoine Griezmann's age. This will be his age 29 season now because he turns 30 today. So far, he started 22 of 25 games in a season right now where Barcelona, at the moment, is temporarily sitting third in La Liga to Real Madrid. They have played 1 less game than Real Madrid and sit 1 point below them in the table. So, I mean, a win here could see them jump Real Madrid. But at this very moment, they are sitting third and looking forward to what they have ahead of them. They actually have a matchup today at Real Sociedad to give Antoine Griezmann an opportunity to show the world, of course, the type of player that he is. Because, of course, this man is entering his 30s with this amazing FIFA legacy at his back. And looking at what he's doing this year in La Liga, he has 7 goals and 6 assists in the 25 games that he's playing this year, which is already a much better clip than he's doing the previous year. He just needs to get his head under him, get his feet under him, and then he'll be more than ready to go. And then add on what he's doing with the other what he's doing with the other competitions. In Copa del Rey, he has 2 goals and 4 assists in 5 matches so far. He has 2 goals in Champions League, and Barcelona's run is already over. But I mean, he's still continuing to score, and all the other matchups, I still think it's a matter of time. And with everything going on at Barcelona, I think it's a matter of time before Messi leaves and they may possibly build this team around Griezmann or someone else they bring in. But I think Griezmann's here at Barcelona to stay unless otherwise. He could go to PSG, but I don't see why he would. His home is in La Liga. He scored a lot of goals in La Liga. I mean, this man has a total of, he has 150 goals in La Liga itself. And he's one of La Liga's greats moving forward. And with that said, I think that these numbers and accomplishments, they definitely speak for themselves, but they're still continuing to build as his legacy continues to build. But at this very moment, for the 2021 calendar year, I still think that Antoine Griezmann is elite, because it was not literally that long ago where he won the silver boot at the World Cup after being the best player for a Europa League winning team. So with that said, there's not much more to say. I want to wish Antoine Griezmann a happy 30th birthday. And once again, I want to thank everyone for listening to all 22 minutes of this piece. Today is Sunday, March 21st, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims. Thank you for listening to The Elite, and I'm signing off. Peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.